Your face is running an experiment. It has been running this experiment for years, every night, while you sleep. And the results are visible, right now, in any mirror, if you know what to look for. Here's what I want you to do before I explain anything. Find a mirror or open your phone camera. Look at your face straight on, not glancing, actually look. Notice the fold of skin at your lower eyelid on each side. Notice the depth of the line that runs from the corner of your nose down to the corner of your mouth. Notice the volume of your cheek, how full it looks, how much shadow falls below the cheekbone. Do that on both sides. If you are over 40, there is a reasonable chance you already see it. One side is different from the other, not dramatically, but the difference is real. One side may look slightly more hollow. One lower eyelid may carry a heavier fold. One cheek may show the cheekbone slightly more. The nasolabial line, that nose to mouth crease, may be more pronounced on one side. That is not your imagination, and it is not entirely genetics. That is, at least partly, the compounding result of decades of mechanical pressure applied to one specific side of your face, every night for 6 to 8 hours, while you sleep on your side. Now, the mechanism. Because this is not about wrinkles. Everybody talks about sleep wrinkles, those surface creases you see in the morning that mostly fade by noon when you are young and that take longer and longer to fade as you get older. That observation is real, but it is incomplete. What is actually happening is more structural than that. Your face contains compartmentalized deposits of subcutaneous fat, not a single uniform layer, discrete compartments, each with their own boundaries, their own blood supply, their own behavior under load. These fat compartments give your face its three-dimensional shape, the fullness of your mid-cheek, the smooth transition from your lower eyelid to your cheek, the definition of your jawline, fat compartments. When you sleep on your side, your face contacts the pillow. This creates mechanical compression, sustained, consistent, nightly mechanical compression of those fat compartments on the dependent side, the side pressed against the surface. The pressure is not trivial. The weight of your head is approximately 5 kilograms. Distributed across the surface area of your cheek and orbital rim, that generates meaningful loading. Sustained mechanical loading on soft tissue does several things. It deforms the collagen matrix in the dermis, the structural scaffold of your skin. It compresses lymphatic channels, impairing the drainage of interstitial fluid from the dependent tissues. And over time, the research suggests it contributes to the redistribution of fat within those compartments. Fat is not a static material. It responds to the mechanical environment it inhabits. Here is the part that makes this more than just a sleep crease story. The effect on the non-dependent side is also real. While one side is compressed, the other side is relatively unloaded. The asymmetry in mechanical experience is not just compression on one side. It is a divergence in the mechanical history of two sides of the same face, over years, over decades. The temporal evidence for this is striking, not because it was discovered recently, because it was documented decades ago and largely ignored in the consumer health conversation. In the 1970s, dermatologists began formally describing what they called sleep-dependent facial asymmetry. The observations were clinical. Patients presenting with unilateral deepening of facial creases were asked about their habitual sleep position. The correlation was consistent enough to be noted in the literature. Through the 1980s and into the 1990s, plastic surgeons began adding their own observations. Surgeons performing facelifts were noting, pre-operatively, that the side patients identified as their sleep side showed different tissue characteristics, different skin laxity patterns, different subcutaneous volume distribution. Not in every patient, not overwhelmingly so in every case, but as a pattern across large numbers of patients, it was visible and reproducible. Then came the twin studies. Monozygotic twins, genetically identical, raised in the same environment, exposed to the same UV levels, eating similar diets. When one twin consistently slept on their side and the other primarily slept on their back, facial photographs assessed by blinded raters showed measurable differences in apparent aging and facial symmetry. The genetic controls were as good as they get in human research. The positional variable was the differentiating factor. More recently, three-dimensional volumetric facial scanning has given researchers tools that photographs cannot match. Studies using these methods have documented asymmetric fat compartment distribution in long-term side sleepers. Not just surface creasing, volume, the deeper structural signature of sustained mechanical load. Permanent, let me revise that, not permanent, progressive. And the distinction matters. Now, there is a stronger case against everything I just said than you might expect, and I want to make it honestly. Gravity acts on the face continuously. Facial soft tissue descends under gravitational load whether you sleep on your side, your back, or your stomach. The contribution of sleep position to facial aging exists within the much larger context of biological aging, collagen turnover, volume loss from fat atrophy, skeletal remodeling, and solar damage. If you spent 40 years smoking and sunbathing without SPF, your sleep position is, statistically, a minor variable in the overall equation of your facial aging. Furthermore, genetic determination of facial asymmetry is substantial. Most human faces are naturally asymmetric. The dominant side of your face, in terms of musculature and expression, tends to show different aging patterns regardless of sleep position. Dissecting out the contribution of sleep position from the contribution of dominant facial expression patterns is genuinely difficult in observational research. And the behavioral modification problem is real. Changing a habitual sleep position is hard. Most people revert to their preferred position within the first sleep cycle, even when they begin the night in a different one. Sustained behavioral change in sleep position over the months and years required to meaningfully alter a pattern established over decades is not trivial to achieve. I am not dismissing these objections. They are legitimate. Any honest account of this topic has to include them. But here is where the argument still holds. The question is not whether sleep position is the dominant cause of facial aging. It is not. The question is whether it is a modifiable contributor to a phenomenon, facial asymmetry and unilateral acceleration of structural aging, that you can actually observe in your own face right now. And the answer to that question is yes. Modest effects, applied consistently for 30 or 40 years, are not modest in their cumulative outcome. That is a statement about compounding. It is also a statement about opportunity. If the loading is contributing to the effect, reducing the loading will reduce the rate of the effect. Not reverse it, not eliminate it. Reduce the rate. What I have witnessed clinically bears on this. Over years of seeing patients raise concerns about their faces, the uneven look, the side that seems older, the fold that one side carries and the other doesn't, I began asking more consistently about sleep position. Not as the first question, not as the definitive explanation, but as one variable in a larger conversation. The pattern I have seen most often, the side they identify without prompting as their preferred sleep side, is the side that carries more visible structural asymmetry. Not in every patient, in most. The lower eyelid fold is heavier on the sleep side. The mid-cheek volume, when assessed by palpation and visual examination, feels and looks redistributed. The nasolabial fold is deeper. The jawline definition is softer. The non-sleep side often looks, to both the patient and to me, somewhat younger, more volumized, less structurally loaded. What stays with me, and I want to be honest that this is not a detached clinical observation, is the sense that something that could be partially modified has been operating invisibly for decades in most of the people I see. They did not know. There was no reason they would have known, but the evidence was there on their faces the whole time, quietly accumulating. So, what can you actually do with this? Before the protocol makes sense, the outcome needs to be clear. The goal of what I am about to describe is not restoration. It is not reversal. It is documentation, awareness, and deceleration. Those three things. That is what success looks like here. If you expect to sleep on your back for 2 months and emerge with a symmetrical face, I am not the right guide for that expectation. If you want to understand your own pattern, reduce the mechanical load on your dependent side, and give the biology a different set of inputs going forward, that is achievable. What you need is basic: your phone camera, good lighting, a window, not an overhead fixture, 2 minutes in the morning before you wash your face or let the night's evidence fade. That is the entry point. Begin with documentation: morning light, face not yet washed, phone camera at eye level. Take a front-facing photograph. Then take one from each side at roughly 45 degrees. Store them with the date. You are not looking for dramatic differences today. You are creating a baseline. This is how you will know in 3 months whether anything has changed. The next step is identifying your dependent side. You probably already know, but if you do not, think about which way you face when you fall asleep. Which side your pillow tends to be more compressed on when you wake. If you genuinely cannot determine it from those cues, the photographs you just took will likely show you. The more structurally loaded side is usually visible, even in people who insist they are balanced sleepers. Then comes the behavioral piece. This is where most content about this topic stops at sleep on your back and leaves you there, having failed at it by the 3rd night. Imagine the scene. No, let me describe the scene directly. A person who has slept on their right side for 40 years attempts to sleep on their back. They last 20 minutes. The room feels wrong. Their lower back is uncomfortable. They roll to their left side, their non-dominant side, and manage another hour. Then, somewhere in the 2nd sleep cycle, they are back on their right side, where they have always been, and they wake up having made no change at all. This is typical. This is not failure. This is the biology of habitual behavior. The graduated approach accounts for this. The first target is not back sleeping. The first target is side switching. If your dominant sleep side is your right side, the first modification is to establish your left side as a competing option. Not the only option, a competing one. A body pillow placed behind your back when you start on your left side provides resistance that makes rolling to your right more effortful. Not impossible, more effortful. That small friction matters over time. This is what the scene looks like, practiced. You begin the night on your left side, back braced by a body pillow. You fall asleep. You likely roll to your right in the night, but you begin the next night on your left again, and the one after. Over several weeks, some people find the left side becomes a more established option. Not the only position, a more common one. The mechanical load on the right side decreases proportionally. If you sustain that shift for a month and you find it is working, the next level is experimenting with back sleeping, aided by a cervical pillow that makes the position more sustainable for the lower back and the neck. Not a dramatic intervention, a mechanical adjustment to make a difficult position more accessible. The 3rd level, for those who are committed to reducing the friction component of compression, a pillowcase made of silk or satin. The evidence for this is softer than for positional change, but the mechanical reasoning holds. Lower friction surface means less mechanical distortion of skin during the movement that inevitably happens in sleep. It does not eliminate compression. It reduces the shear component. You will know you have learned this, not just followed it, when you can look at a photograph of a face and identify the probable sleep side. When you can describe to someone else why the structural changes are located where they are. When you understand that the lower eyelid fold and the mid-cheek hollow on the same side are not 2 separate problems, but 2 surface expressions of the same underlying mechanical history. That is mastery here. Not a fixed face, an informed one. Here is the experiment. 14 days. Before you change anything, take the morning photographs described. Document both sides. Then begin the position modification. Left side first, body pillow behind you. Do this every night for 14 days. Photograph again on day 15. Same conditions, same lighting, same camera. You are not looking for reversal. You are looking for evidence that the tissue on the previously dependent side shows any difference in morning puffiness, fluid distribution, or the depth of the post-sleep crease. These are early, reversible indicators of reduced lymphatic and mechanical load. If you see nothing has changed, and I have given you something interesting to think about, but insufficient to act on. If you see something, you have your answer about whether your sleep position is a variable worth managing. Some of the structural differences already present in your face have been accumulating for decades. I want to be honest with you about that. They are not going to be reversed by positional change. The experiment you have been running, the one that started the moment you settled into your first habitual sleep position, has already produced results that are partly written into your tissue. The question now is what the next chapter of the experiment looks like. That is still undetermined. That part is still yours to write. If what you just heard lands somewhere, pass it to one person in your life who has ever mentioned noticing their face looks uneven. Not the video, just the idea. See what they say. And if you find yourself going deeper into what sleep does to the structures of the face beyond what we covered today, the work on this channel tends to reward that kind of attention.